Roll Tide, everybody, and welcome to the Bama Tailgate Show. And look who's back. He's going to be with us every Monday from here on out. My man, Mike Johnston. It's like old times again. He and I go way back. You remember him from 09. I know, Mike, you're going, I can't wait to talk to everybody. I can't wait to say hi. And you can do all of that, but it's going to have to wait until after I play the Open, which you're on, by the way. Look at that, man. You got like 5 or 6 cameos on that Open.
That is so official, dude. You are so official. The Mick Tater. The Mick Tater live and in person, baby. Let's go.
Did you see the first clip of that? Did you see it when we got our rings?
Oh, yeah.
You see that? That's how we start this, man.
It
was great to see you.
Hey, Win State. Get you one of these.
I threw a football a quarter mile back in my day.
Hey, lose the Music City Bowl. Get you one of these.
Oh, man. What's great for those of you guys that don't know, Mike and I did radio together for a long time. And then the show started, the tailgate show, the Friday tailgate show. And Mike was like, you and I both weren't founding members. You know, It was like kind of like being in like the Spinners or the Commodores or whatever. Like it started with Ben George and Baron Huber, but somehow it was the 4 of us for a while. It was just us 2.
I'm pretty sure the first time I ever did radio was on that show. And now it's, my full-time job, which I'm thankful for. So yeah, those were good times, dude. Looking back through those videos, that was a good time to be a Bama fan as well. Mm-hmm. Just revisiting some of those memories. So yeah, I'm with you, dude. Good to be back.
Mike won the 09 National Championship, a 2-time All-American. For those of you know him, but I'm just telling you guys, because some people were like just clicking for the first time, and they probably know your voice from Atlanta Falcons football, but they just don't know your face.
It's not a great time today, anyways, to be an Atlanta Falcons fan. So it is what it is. Apologies to anybody that knows me from that one.
Yeah. Well, we're brought to you by Pearl River Resort, Philadelphia, Mississippi, the Azaleas, the Oaks. 2 amazing golf courses at Dancing Rabbit Golf Course. It's the Augusta. You can play an hour and a half from Tuscaloosa, 2 and change from Birmingham. We appreciate them a lot. All right, let's get into this matchup because this is near and dear to your heart. Bama versus Georgia. This time Bama at Georgia. Last time this game happened, we actually went together, 2015. I remember I broadcasted the post-game show from your RV, and it rained. And John Parker Wilson tried to take the ticket back that he gave me. All the fun that we had in Athens. And it was a great game. Derrick Henry ran all over him. Bama was an underdog. Bama's only lost 1 time in the last 10 games against these guys. It's been for national championships. It's been for SEC titles. Last year in Tuscaloosa was a classic. A lot of these games have been really good.
Yeah, there's no doubt. To say it rained last time this happened is probably the understatement of the century. And I know that was 10 years ago, but a biblical thunderstorm that hit Athens that week. As a matter of fact, I can remember doing radio over here in Atlanta, and they had put out a bulletin. Georgia had put out a bulletin, if you don't have a ticket to the game, do not come to Athens. I actually had to ramp like a ditch in the RV to get it out of there because the exit to the RV campground was blocked because people stuck in the mud. So I had to exit stage left and ramp up the side of a ditch, almost flipped my parents' RV. But it's another conversation for another day, man. But yeah, it's been, you mentioned it. You lose the national championship. The one before that was the throw in overtime from Matt Stafford to Mikey Henderson, I believe it was, in overtime in 2007. The Britney Spears game, as most people know it. Where they're asking about Britney Spears on the broadcast right there before overtime. So I don't know if you remember that or not, but that's
no. You remember the blackout? Do you remember the blackout?
I remember the blackout, but dude, the Britney Spears game is lives in lore of I think it was Blackledge.
Oh, and, wait. You mean in Tuscaloosa? I was
that's what I'm talking about.
I remember that pass. Yeah,
the Mikey Henderson overtime. They're going to overtime, and the ESPN broadcast. The guy goes, "Man, what's up with Britney?" I think it's Blackledge on with him. He's like, "Britney who?" He's like, "Britney Spears." It's like, dude, what are you talking about? We're in the middle of Georgia Bama overtime in Tuscaloosa. You want to talk about Britney Spears? Anyways, yeah, man, it's good stuff. Obviously, the blackout. I know that there's been whispers of a blackout maybe happening in Athens this weekend. I don't know that to be happening, but it'd be interesting to see if that does come to fruition. But yeah, both these teams being off this week, that Bama Georgia week kind of already started building a little bit last week here in Atlanta, and Georgia fans are feeling pretty good about their ability going into this weekend's matchup, coming off a big victory against Tennessee. So ought to be a good game. I'm curious to see which version of Bama comes out, the Bama that plays Georgia or the Bama under Kalen DeBoer that has played on the road, which has not been good. So we'll see what happens, man. But a lot of moving parts in this matchup, and ought to be a good one once again.
Kept hearing that Alabama during the offseason was hitting it hard in practice, and that they were really focused on trying to turn things around from last year. Going down to Florida State, I wasn't convinced. And unfortunately, it turned out the way that I thought it would. No pass rush, offensive line that, didn't have much of a push after the first drive. It felt like Ty Simpson was left on an island out there a lot. And then after that, I got to tell you, man, the ULM game, you remember this. And yesterday, Shank was talking about how for those of you guys that watched the show yesterday, how I have this thing for ULM. You know about this. The billboards. I wanted them to lose by 100, man. Like, I haven't forgot you. And they lost 3-0. And I was still out for more blood. They could put those billboards up on the interstate. You were in the game. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I was in the game, Mick. You always bring that up. Thank you for that.
Yeah. But they played great, right? And then I thought that against Wisconsin. Now, look, Wisconsin's not that good. Maryland beat up on them too, but I thought Bama played a really good game. And I'm just trying to figure out what version of Alabama we're going to get. I think that's inconsistency in sports is never a good question.
Well, look, and I think that's a conversation of 2025, is it not? I mean, the parity, especially right there in the SEC, is second to none. I mean, I don't know that any SEC team is great. I think there's a lot of good SEC teams, but they're all like right there. It seems like any given week that, Tennessee can beat Georgia, or Georgia beat Tennessee, or Georgia beat Bama, or Tennessee and Bama. Like all these teams, LSU, Texas A&M. I'll even throw Vanderbilt in the mix. They've had a lot of success, obviously. So a lot of those teams right there seem like teams that could possibly make a run at the SEC. And with the fact that there's 16 teams now, it just throws a bunch of craziness in there. So I'm with you, man. I don't know. I watched the ULM game. It was as close to a perfect game as you could possibly play as a football team. But who knows? I had this conversation about the Atlanta Falcons last couple of weeks. The Atlanta Falcons lost to Tampa Bay in week 1. They beat the crap out of Minnesota Vikings in week 2 in primetime Sunday Night Football. And then they get beat 30-0 against the Carolina Panthers. Like, can't figure out what they are through 3 weeks of the season. I think a lot of that is leadership, to be honest. And, I've heard a lot of comments recently about Bama's leadership and people saying, well, you can't cultivate leadership. You can't cultivate accountability. Yeah, you can. That's one of the things that Nick Saban did best, is holding players accountable and making sure you put players in a position of leadership. So, look, I'm not going to go down that whole avenue. We know that Nick Saban's not coming back to be the head coach at Alabama, and kind of are what we are, and we deal with big battles on the football field now. So we'll see what version of it comes out. I have to believe that they will be playing with a level of tenacity that we haven't seen them play on the road with. But until you see it, it's kind of hard to believe. You look at the Oklahoma game last year and the Vanderbilt game obviously last year. Florida State game this year, whenever they get away from Bryant-Denny Stadium, they seem to lose an edge. So we'll see what happens. But, I'm looking forward to them getting on the field and kind of putting all the chips in the middle of the table.
Why is that? Why is it? I mean, they played well at LSU last year. But you're right. I mean, the Oklahoma game was terrible. Michigan was a bowl game. They didn't want to be there for that one. Vanderbilt last year, embarrassing. Tennessee played okay, but didn't win. Then in Tuscaloosa, they beat up on Auburn, won their first 2 games this year. Why?
I wish I knew the answer to that, because to me, in the way we were wired, and maybe this is a Saban thing, maybe it's not, we always played with more of an edge away from home. Like, home felt comfortable to us. You know what I mean? It was like, well, your parents are coming in, where their tailgating spot's going to be, and You get to eat at whatever places you want to. And, like home felt comfortable. On the road, we had an edge. It was like us against the world. Like, man, we're going to go prove everybody wrong. And all these fans are yelling at us. We're about to, make them, swallow their words. I don't know. For whatever reason, the Kalen DeBoer brand of that is completely the opposite. These guys take the field, and it's almost like they have a sense of bravado that's not there anymore. It's like, we're Bama, we're going to take the field, and that nobody cares, So I don't know. I think a lot of that is leadership. I think there could be another edge to Kalen DeBoer in terms of, the way that he kind of attacks the practice field and things like that. I know that a lot of the conversation, and you can probably echo this, coming out of the ssummer was that, man, Ryan Grubb really brings that edge to the program. That was really one of the missing things. I have to see it. I need to see this. And as well as I do, when they hired Ryan Grubb last year, I wasn't sold on what the run game could be. Right. And I still have questions about the run game. Yeah, I remember scouting the Seattle Seahawks when they were about to play the Falcons last year, doing, a lot of this Falcons work throughout the year. And I'm like, man, they don't have a running game at all. I mean, at all. I think they had 1 week before they played the Falcons where they had like 5 or 6 rushing attempts. It was crazy. So I still have questions about Ryan Grubb, but if you can start to instill that attitude of having that edge, maybe Grubb's the one who gives them the pregame speech. I don't know, but they've got to find it, man, when they get on the road, because some people in Athens, buddy, Mick, they are out for blood. They feel like they have the upper hand in this one. They feel like it's time to beat their chest a little bit as the premier SEC program, whatever you want to call it, and they are ready for a turning of the tide, if you will, down there in Athens.
Yeah. Well, look, my friend Cruz, who was on the Tailgate Show last time we did it, said that if Alabama doesn't go out and play the kind of football that they're capable of playing, basically if they show up against Georgia like they did Florida State, this could be the worst beatdown Bama's ever taken. That's how hungry Georgia is to beat Alabama. I look at it like this, Mike. I get it. Alabama has not shown up against some of these opponents on the road, but so many of these players were recruited by both programs, right? I mean, think about it. How many times do you see a guy come down to Georgia and Alabama? I mean, you can go through the roster on both sides, and you're just not going to go into this kind of game and not play, you know? And I would be shocked. And if they do, then I've said this week too. It's not, Kalen DeBoer's not coaching for his job. No, he's coaching for Greg Burns' job. Because if things start to trend in the wrong direction or continue to trend in the wrong direction with this program, Burns the one that's going down. Because there's some people that have their long knives out for him. They're not happy about going outside of the Saban tree for a hire. They don't like the culture that, we score a touchdown and people are, the players over there doing like pictures, give the ball to the ref and get back to the huddle, You know what I'm talking about. And they put this on Byrne. Now, I'm telling you right now, I don't have a problem with Byrne. This isn't me. I'm just saying that I've been around this program for a long time, long before Byrne, long before DeBoer, honestly, even before you, man. I'm an OG, and I know how things get there, and you do too. When you start hearing this, the only way you fix it is by winning football games, because it'll go away that fast if you win games.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Now, do I blame Greg Byrne? No. But unfortunate, that if things don't, get back on track, that you will be a casualty of what's happening. I mean, Greg Byrne went out and hired a coach away that just went to a national championship game.
Yeah, you can't complain with that, right?
No, you can't fault him for that. And you talk about the Saban coaching tree. I mean, unless Lane was going to be your target, I don't know who you were going to go get. Kirby Smart is very happy at Georgia and is a national championship coach, and Sarkisian's at the richest school in America in the NIL era. I mean, it's the nature of the beast. I played for Kurt Signetti. He was you're not going to go get Kurt, and that wasn't even a thought a couple of years ago when DeBoer was brought in.
Could be now, though. Brett Key. I mean, there's some guys out there now.
There are. And look, I think that I don't think he'd go back to the Saban tree. Brent Key, to me, I would be curious to see, because I like Brent. I have a relationship with Brent. Talked to him, good bit. I'd be curious to know if that would be a job that he would want. He's
come
from
on.
Alabama, but remember he went to Georgia Tech. So
yeah, but come on, Mike.
I don't know. We're not having that conversation right now, anyways, man.
You take
Georgia
the Bama job. It's the Bama job.
I agree, but look, it just is what it is at this point. It's all about how deep your pockets are, man. And as much as I think Bama's pockets are relatively deep, I don't think they're top 5 deep. That's why all of a sudden Oregon's a top 5 job in the country, even though they don't have any trophies in the trophy case. So
yeah, that's right.
It is what it is, man. But to go back to the point and talking about Kalen DeBoer, I think that Kalen DeBoer is a great coach. Do I think he's Nick Saban? No. Nobody was ever going to be Nick Saban. Nick Saban had a way to make us focus on nothing but putting one foot in front of the other. I still, and people ask me all the time, almost every day of my life, somebody's like, man, Nick Saban, huh? Like, what was he like? Dude, it infiltrated my brain. I still live every day of my life, Mick, with the founding principles that Nick Saban instilled in me. But you talk about the pressure on Kalen DeBoer. I also played for Mike Shula. I remember, and a lot of people don't remember this week because it was crazy. And I remember it like it was yesterday. And until I'm proven wrong, this is what my memory tells me. We played Auburn. We lost to Auburn. All right. A whole week went by. And then they fired Mike Shula. And we got back to campus, and Malmore walks in he walks in the team meeting, and Malmore goes, you guys deserve better than what's been happening. Alabama deserves better than what's happening, and we're going to go out and find you a coach that can deliver better for this team and this university. I was mad. I was angry. I was like, dude, how dare you? Mike Shula is a son of Alabama. Like, the guy is Alabama. And then you went and hired Nick Saban. And so the grass is not always greener, but sometimes it is. And sometimes good things happen in situations like that. I just think that Kalen needs to find a level of intensity that he hasn't shown in any coaching stop. And maybe the pressure of this job can start to form him into that. It's the whole saying about the pressure creating the diamonds and things like that. Maybe something about this job and the pressure that comes along with it will allow him to kind of evolve. But he's got to find a way to get these players to play with that edge on the road.
Right.
Make them understand they are fighting their way out and their backs are against the wall. It's like the movie 300. We used to watch the hype videos on Friday nights. It was always like the movie 300 and fighting your way out of there. He's got to find a way to kind of convey that message when they go to Athens this weekend. I think it's going to be a big deal for them.
Ty Simpson versus the Georgia defense. I feel like this is where Alabama is going to win or lose the game because unlike when you guys played, it was a run game. You managed the offense, don't turn the ball over, and the defense was ferocious and, basically would destroy people. And then, now it's like Bama's got to score points, Mike, because I don't know that defense is going to stop Georgia's offense on a consistent basis, right?
Yeah, I was looking at today, Gunnar Stockton's now 5th best odds to win the Heisman Trophy. Did some really nice things against Tennessee. A little bit of inconsistency in the way they go about their offense. I think it was very evident to a lot of people. Georgia didn't have that week 1 matchup that they've had in the past. I think last year they played Clemson, beat the crap out of Clemson in the Georgia Dome. They didn't have that this year. They've played Austin Peay and Marshall before the Tennessee game. And there wasn't much Gunnar Stockton run game, right? I think it was like maybe 4 times against Austin Peay, or didn't play. It was like 4 times against Marshall. So you go into a Tennessee game. I think Gunnar Stockton ran it 13 times. I'm curious to see if what Bama does on their end offensively kind of mirrors that, right? Is it something you've been holding back in terms of run game and in terms of the quarterback run? Is there some way to get him loose? I'm not saying Ty Simpson is a great runner. I'm not expecting that. But can you do some things to kind of loosen up that defense? Georgia's defense is good. It's not Georgia defense from 2 years ago, from 3 years ago, from 4 years ago. It's just not. They don't have the bodies that they used to on that defensive line. To be honest, I'm glad, though, because Alabama's run game, aside from the first 8 plays against Florida State, has not looked good.
Yeah.
Hopefully Jam Miller is a part of things moving forward. And I know that there's some other pieces kind of working back into the offensive line, Jaden Roberts and, the right tackle competition. But I don't know. They're going to have to prove to me they can do it on the ground and do it in a timely fashion and then hopefully beat you with a well-rounded offense. Because you're right. I don't. This whole thing where our defense is going to step up and throw a shutout, I don't think that happens anymore. I think that I think that Nick Saban and Kirby and Jeremy Pruitt and the defenses of that time are kind of long gone at this point.
Yeah, no doubt. Mike, you're a versatile guy. I'm a versatile guy, and I mean by that is that we can talk sports, but we can talk other stuff. And, I think that it's kind of funny when I look at everything going on in the world today and know that there's a chance that I can actually bet on it, right? The Kelsey's part of our tailgate show now. It's the first and largest federally regulated prediction market in the U.S., and it's approved by the exchange. Basically, it's not really gambling. It's going head to head with other people, predictions, like predicting stuff. So you can predict like tonight's Ravens-Lions game. And I'll throw this up here for you, right? So if we all know that the Ravens are going to win that game. So there it is, 67 to 33%. But what's cool about this is that you can talk about politics on here. You can do politics. You can basically bet on who's going to win the governor of New Jersey, who's going to win the New York mayoral election, like who's going to be the Democratic nominee in 2028, right? But are they going to cut interest rates? Is the Fed chair going to be out? It's just fun. Like it's all kind of stuff. I like the music stuff. You can get on here and kind of hit different music things as
culture,
well.
Man. Culture.
Yeah, culture. We're cultured. Like yesterday I was talking to Shank and he's like, we were talking about the iced tea, go up in price. And it's like, will Donald Trump attend a football game this year? 79% said yes. So it's pretty funny, but and you can see on here like how many people bet on this as well. Kanye with a number one album this year, $82,000 have been wagered on that one right there. Will Taylor Swift release another album, right? 11,000. But it's pretty fun. I mean, we've got at the bottom of the screen, you can see it there. You guys want to check it out, Kelsey.com. And then our promo code is Bama Tailgate, $10 free when you sign up for Kelsey with $100, right? So that's pretty cool. If there was something on here, like for you, like just outside of sports, what's the thing that pops into your head that you would probably feel comfortable wagering on?
Oh man, outside of sports, I don't know. Definitely wouldn't be Taylor Swift. I'm not up to par with that. Probably some kind of Discovery Channel reality show or something like that. You go into Deadliest Catch or something. I don't know.
We got
something like that.
When will The Last of Us season 3 be released?
Yeah,
before August, before July.
I'm trying to think. There's a what's the Netflix show that we were watching the other day? The Diplomat, I think, is a pretty good one. So yeah, maybe something like that, man. My wife and I. It's like when I turn sports off at night because I wake up so early. We got to get into the bed and watch some kind of show at night, man. It's like we just run through them right and left. So something like that for sure.
Pretty fun. You guys check it out. And have some fun there. All right, SEC is about to announce, and this wasn't one of the things that you could actually hit on Kelsey, but the SEC opponents. They're going to this 9-game schedule, and part of that is they're going to name our three permanent opponents, right?
Right.
So I don't know that this is really good for Alabama long term, but here's my list right here: Tennessee, LSU, and Auburn. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, Tennessee's got Kentucky, Vanderbilt, and Alabama. Like,
dude,
you know what I mean?
So, but them and LSU, I can't remember. LSU is going to get off easy here, unless LSU, because to me, I would give LSU, and I think the projections that a lot of people have been LSU getting. Let me see if I can find it real quick. It's not including Texas A&M. Okay, so LSU's three opponents are projected from CBS Sports to be Alabama, Arkansas, and Ole Miss.
Yeah, that's easy.
Yeah, I mean, like I know that Ole Miss has a thing lately with Lane, but that's an easy pull for the other two, other than them.
Right.
Texas A&M is not part of that, which you would think. I mean, how close is Baton Rouge to College Station? It's not that far away.
I know. Or give them
Texas A&M projected. How about this one? Ole Miss, Texas, and Vanderbilt for Texas A&M.
Yeah, how did they even come up with that?
I don't know, dude. It's frustrating. Now, I will say the joke's going to be on a couple of other people because right now Ole Miss is having a moment, and so is Vanderbilt. I mean,
Right.
Nick, I'm thinking about coming over to Tuscaloosa in a couple weeks for that Vanderbilt game, and I got to be real with you. I'm not really excited about that one just yet.
We called it last year. Remember?
We did.
Show.
We called it
Before
right
the
here
game.
on the show last year, saying, and the headline was Vanderbilt can beat Alabama, and they absolutely did. So thank God that one is at home. Thank God that one is at home, Mick, because if that one was a road game again, I'd be really, really upset about that one. But Vanderbilt is they're looking good. You know, the new thing in college football, Mick, and I'll be curious to see if Bama ever has to go down this road. The new thing in college football is to bring in a quarterback in the portal and hire their offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
That's the new thing, right? That's what Texas Tech, Utah probably did that. Oklahoma did that. You know, that's what Diego Pavia did when they brought him over from New Mexico. It's just, that's the new thing. You bring in a quarterback and you bring in their offensive coordinator. So I don't know, man. We'll see what happens with these crossover matchups, but I don't know. I'm trying to think who has the worst one. I would say if you just look at traditional powerhouses, Georgia's got a pretty tough draw, especially considering that their rival is a non-conference game against Georgia Tech, but it looks like they're projected to have Tennessee, Florida, and Auburn. That's pretty tough roundup. So we'll see what all comes out of it. But yeah, that's expected to come out today for sure.
I say this, and I know that it's going to be this list right here, right? UT, LSU, and Auburn. And I know some of you guys are going, man, we got season tickets. Makes our tickets more valuable. But if you're Alabama, man, I mean, I would love to replace LSU for Mississippi State.
I do have to say, because I think we have breaking news. This just literally hit my phone, all right, from Mr. Chris Bingle himself, the Bingle News Network. He has sent me and said that Chris Lowe has evidently, and I'm trying to pull up the tweet. Chris Lowe has tweeted that no LSU for Alabama, and it will actually be Mississippi State.
Thank you. Chris will be on here on Thursday, so we can ask him in person.
That will be that's kind of disappointing. It's kind of disappointing, but it's definitely preferable compared to what you could have had. So let's see if I can pull up this tweet real quick.
So the problem is you do that. The problem that I have for Alabama is that you got to win games. And if you're going to go out and play tough non-conference games, Saban's not at Alabama anymore. You know, it was always a fun matchup, but then when Saban came and you were there for that, it became a bloodthirsty rivalry. He's not there anymore. Yeah. You know, and I enjoy going down there and playing. I love the rivalry, but you got to have some games on the schedule that are, you know, that are wins, man. And that one is a win. I mean, you play Mississippi State in 100 years, you've lost to them like, you know, maybe 18 times or something. I mean, that's a dub on the docket. And Nick Saban's not coming back through. Neither is Bear Bryant. It's not.
I got all the opponents right here. Chris Lowe has put out all of them. Chris Lowe just put out a graphic for all of them. All right, who would you like to hear? Bama's Auburn, Tennessee, and Mississippi State. Auburn. How about this draw for Auburn? Bama, Georgia, Vandy. LSU gets Arkansas, Ole Miss, Texas A&M. And let's see who else. Georgia's going to get, so take Tennessee off of what we just said for Georgia. Georgia's going to get Auburn, Florida, South Carolina, according to Chris Lowe. So that's interesting. And then Oklahoma gets Missouri, Ole Miss, Texas. So, yeah, man, there's a couple of curveballs thrown there from what we expected it to be. But interesting nonetheless. Florida is not getting Tennessee. Florida is going to get Kentucky, which is interesting. Kentucky, South Carolina, and Georgia.
So is Tennessee's Vandy, Kentucky, and Alabama?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, there you go. Breaking, according to a guy that's on here every week.
Yeah, Chris Lowe, man. So that is fun. I mean, literally that popped up the minute we started talking about this subject. Perfect. And then putting that out. So look, man, I think it stinks that there's no LSU. I got to be honest. That trip to Baton Rouge not only was fun as a player, but made that a couple of times after playing days, and that was always a fun trip down to Baton Rouge. But I think, if you correct me if I'm wrong, I think this is a 4-year commitment. If I'm not mistaken, I think this is a 4-year commitment. So maybe there's some tinkering after 4, but Lord knows, Mick, we don't know what college football is going to be in 4 years. So,
Yeah.
I mean, we might as well just take this with a grain of salt as it is. You could see, mass movement in 4 years in the way the SEC is constructed. But that's an interesting dynamic. Mississippi State gets Ole Miss, Vandy, and Alabama. Whew. Interesting stuff, man.
Mississippi State needs those games to fund their program.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Like they need them. I mean, we're going to pay for whoever shows up and plays in Tuscaloosa, unfortunately. I was talking to Shank about this yesterday. I get your opinion. I mean, I wasn't planning on going this direction, but I feel like since Coach Saban retired, Bama's value, just like the value of Alabama brand has gone down. Like you could never get I had season tickets when Shula was there, and it was hard to pay for those things, because I didn't make that much money back then. And I got rid of them because I could afford them. And then finally I could do it again, but they were you couldn't get them, because, Saban showed up, 92,000 at the spring game and season tickets. And it was hard to get tickets to any of the big games. I'm looking at, we gave away Wisconsin tickets here. And by the way, hit that QR code right there, AveD, Mick Nation. You guys can win tickets and a tailgate show gear. Like this hat, I'm going to have to send you some gear now, Mike, that you're on the tailgate show again. Now that you're back.
Mick Nation.
Finally, man, finally back. This is where you belong. But anyway, and I'm like, we gave away tickets and I'm looking online. I'm like, I wonder how much these tickets are worth. It's like some of you could get in for like $30, $20. Yeah. I'm going, man, this doesn't feel like this isn't the Alabama under Saban. So they got to win some games to build this brand back up.
Yeah. Well, two things. I got two thoughts.
Or am I wrong?
I got two thoughts on that. First of all, I can't tell you how many times. And actually, I think you were one of the biggest people pushing this statement in my direction, right? Uh-oh. So I can't tell you how many times over the course of Saban's tenure at Alabama. How many years was he there? 17? No.
Yeah, 17.
I don't know. I can't tell you how many times over the course of those 16, 17 years did I hear somebody go, man, we're in the midst of the greatest dynasty ever.
Yes.
You might as well get those tickets to the Sugar Bowl or the Cotton Bowl or the Rose Bowl or whatever else. You might as well buy those tickets to this showdown because we don't know when we're ever going to be back to this level. And I think a lot of people absolutely did that. I think a lot of people did that. I think you might feel everybody in Bama Nation taking a small breath. I think they're probably saying, woo, boy, that was quite the run. I pulled out 401k to be able to make that one happen. All right. So let me just take a small breath. But as with anything, any college program, but specifically at Alabama, I think Bama is very unique in this aspect. The value of the program is the winning. I think that there's value in Oregon because of its Oregon. I think there's value in Texas because of the donors. I think there's value in Ohio State because they have 36 varsity sports and an alumni chapter of, 18 million or whatever it is.
Right.
Bama is very unique in the aspect that the value is in the winning. The value of the program is when you win. So if Bama had beaten Florida State and Bama was ranked in the top 5 and Wisconsin was coming to town, those tickets are up. Now, is it up to the level of when Nick Saban was there? No. But that was a special run. It's hard to expect Bama fans to keep doing that. Not only that, but now the NIL is involved. It's just different. The passion of the passion around the program comes from different places. So I don't know that the value of the program is down. I just think with anything, it goes ups and down with the winning, and that is multiplied by 10 in Tuscaloosa at a place like Alabama.
Look, I don't disagree. But the other part of this too was when the Alabama-Georgia game isn't the site of ESPN Game Day, and I'm going, okay, that trend was part of my reasoning behind saying that. Because I'm like, hey, this is Alabama and Georgia. No, we're going to go Oregon, Penn State. Sorry, guys. Not a good sign. But you're right. It's in the winning, though. You go get your ass whooped like they did against Florida State, not give out a good enough effort. And that was the only problem I've had. You've been around me a long time. I have never, because I played sports, I've blown games, I've done everything. I've made 5 errors in a baseball game before, given up a grand slam to lose a game. I know how tough it is to win games. It just is. That's what makes them fun.
Yeah.
But I always gave an effort. When I saw the effort that Alabama gave against Florida State, I was ashamed of that effort. Just
I was
effort.
too. I was too. And here's the other thing I'll say about game day. You couldn't do that if you were ESPN. You couldn't make that decision. You just simply couldn't. Why does everybody in college football hate Alabama? Because they've been successful, right? Because they've won a lot, and because everybody's ready for something new. And at times, Alabama felt like they were just taking over the sport for a decade. That's all you saw, right? So as soon as Alabama stumbles, for them to even think about going to Athens, it just was never going to happen. I think they're ready to turn over a new leaf. Let's be real. College game day got a little stale for a little bit there. They're ready to get some more exciting atmospheres with some rabid fan bases. Not only that, but I don't know the exact date. A couple of weeks after Bama goes to Athens, Texas goes to Athens. So that's going to be a whole nother conversation for them that they have to deal with in terms of their outlook. And but I'm with you, man. It's a tumultuous time because I think that I can deal with Bama losing. I can't deal with Bama loafing. And that makes my stomach churn. And it seems like most of the guys, and I'll throw Bray Hubbard into that and a couple of the other ones, have taken that to heart. But you know how big a fan I was of Tyler Booker, right? I mean, I used to come on here and talk about Tyler Booker every single freaking time this microphone was turned on.
You loved him.
Dude, loved him. And he was the guy last year that was never going to allow that to fly. I don't know who that guy is right now. I don't know who the guy is on the team that's like, no, dude, we're not playing that way. We're not this film. This is not going to happen. I've told you many stories about Saban, no matter what the result of the game was, doing a good, bad, and the ugly. And in front of the team, if there was a loaf, if there was a play you looked bad, if there was something you didn't listen to, your coaching point during the week, it was up on 2 gigantic screens in front of the team meeting room. Now there's just one because they have like a movie theater. But now there's just, there would just be on 2 screens, and he would make you feel this big. And I just don't know that happens now. And there's a level of accountability that they're going to have to kind of find within that locker room or that coaching staff that hopefully it comes along. It's just make the whole thing. And I know we got to get out of here. It comes down to this. Bama is in a good news, bad news situation right now.
Yeah.
The bad news being is that you really haven't played up to your ability. And you really haven't played that Alabama brand of football. And there's still many question marks about your team. The good news is that you have the talent on this roster to compete with anybody, right? There might be dysfunction, but is the possibility always going to be there of you winning every week? Abso-freaking-lutely. So we're just kind of in this middle ground where we have to weed through it and see what comes out on the other side.
Love it, man. Love it. And love having you back every Monday. This is our new Monday quarterback show.
Let's do it.
The Bama Tailgate Show. Hey, reminding you, and Mike, this is an invite for you. You're from Pensacola, and I know that you've actually been to the Bama before.
A few times.
The anniversary. It's the 10-year anniversary of the Oyster Gate Cup last week, right? Do you know that?
Be careful, those.
10 years ago. So 10 years ago, And the reason I'm saying this, guys, is that the show's going to be there this Friday. We're going to record the Tailgate Show, and it'll be live here on this channel, and then we'll play it across the state on radio Saturday for the Alabama-Georgia game. But Jay Coker and I will be there. Maybe Ryan Anderson. He normally pops in. Mike, you're invited. You look on that list there. Bama, Old River Grill this Friday at 1 o'clock. South Carolina, we're going to be at Coastal, which you know where that is, the new restaurant that they own, right there where you come out like – I think off of Canal Road and then towards, the beach. Yep. And then we'll be at the Big Bama for our Iron Bowl show on November 28th. So if any of those work for you, please come and sit in with us personally, right? So come hang out, and you can bring the big unit, Randy Johnson, Chris Breaking News Bengal, bring Big Nate, Nasty Nate, the whole crew. Mike's got a whole crew.
Squad.
I ran into Eric Beach.
Wow.
Went at the Tiki Bar on Saturday. I watched part of the Iron Bowl with him. Our friend that owns the Brick and Spoon, and I was telling him, I said, look, we started the day 10 years ago, Bama Ole Miss. We did the Tailgate Show live from Brick and Spoon, okay, and then they brought us these giant glasses of Bloody Mary. They had all kind of food in them. They were delicious. Then Mike and Ben George had a hideaway, and they went and took a nap. I went to the Bama. Okay, this is how the whole thing went down. And then Bama was losing big. It was like 24-3. Came back to win. Ohio State fans were buying me shots. Mike and I show up. We got to do this post-game show. It was the worst. It was the worst deal ever. It was like the worst. We had to wait for the Crimson Tide Sports Network to do theirs, and then we did ours after that. So it was like 2 hours after the 2 hours when the game ended. Nobody would listen to it. It was a bad deal. But
we were still doing it, though, baby.
We were doing it, right? Not even getting paid that much. It was before. It was before. And I'm going to be on Cover Crimson's post-game show this week, and then after that, I'm going to the next round, guys, so you'll be able to catch me on there. But it started when we were doing post-game shows on the station in Tuscaloosa. Anyway, Jen, who's the marketing person, it was hot in the tent, and they were bringing us these things called bushwhackers. I didn't know bushwhackers had in them, and I didn't know what the toppers were, Mike. And I got drunk as a skunk. I'll just throw it out right now. I don't remember much. I interviewed John McInnes, and then after that, everything went black, except I saw Ben George giving me the stink eye. You and Chris Bengal, Breaking News Bengal. You and Chris, Breaking News Bengal, took over the show. And for 2 weeks, I thought the radio station was going to fire me. And
that's exactly what happened, man.
And my whole game plan was I was gonna blame it on bad oysters.
Yeah. Yeah, that was one. That's definitely something you could have said, I guess. But those oysters, man, they jumped up and got you. Now, you welcomed us back in from a commercial break, and I was like, this is not going to work. Anybody that's listening to this right now, if there is anybody listening to this right now, is probably 100% sure that Mick is drunk. Yeah, so welcome back into the post game show. It's
like when you try, like when you're trying so hard, like you just want your wife to believe that you're not that drunk, or your parents,
100%.
Somebody, and in your head you're like, I think I got this. And then I see Ben George looking at me. He's never liked me since then, by the way. I don't even know if we're friends anymore. I love him, but
oh man,
he just was giving me this look, man, like you MFer,
It was like the Wolf of Wall Street when he thinks he drove home really clean and parked the car, and then the next morning he figures out that his car is junked and he hit everything on the way home. Yeah, that was what that was like. But yeah,
dude,
man, good time.
The last thing is, like, some of you guys that watch, I had our friend Dickie. He's like, great dude. He went through and tried to find the show on here because he wanted to watch it. And I'm like, we didn't have any of this back then.
No, this is a whole dude. We've come a long way in 10 years, buddy. I got news for you. I do the network post game show now for an NFL team, which is just mind boggling that's even a thing. Yeah, and so that's that one is long gone, as it should be. That one faded into the sand that night at the Florida Bama.
My friend. So look, and let me put this back up here as I wrap things up. Again, come hang with us. And the fact that we record the show Friday at 1:00, I'm fine. And the other thing is that I'll get a ride. And if something like that happens, guess what? I own the channel. So I'm going to fire myself, right?
Matter of fact, I hope something like that happens, man. I hope it happens.
They kept bringing those things out. I didn't know anything about them. I thought, man, it's hot in here. These are kind of like milkshakes. Like,
that 151 on the top is what gets you, dude.
Yeah, the floater. I didn't know any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Awful. Mike, thank you, man. It's been great talking to you again. Every Monday here on the channel, and then maybe you could come and hang out with us on the Tailgate Show if you go home to Pensacola.
Yeah.
Anytime between now and then. But where can people find you? Throw your information out there.
Yeah, man, you can find me on Twitter at mpjohnson79, and all the info is right there. We do the morning show here in Atlanta on the flagship station for the Atlanta Falcons, 92.9 The Game. So you can check that out, man. We got it rolling. It's NFL season. Falcons are 1-2, not very good, but we'll see what happens, man. We're doing it all every single morning.
Brought to you by Pearl River Resort, Philadelphia, Mississippi. The Timeout Sports Lounge is a Vegas-style sports book that's an hour and a half from Tuscaloosa, 2 and change from Birmingham. They got the window. They got the kiosks, 20 big screen TVs, full-size bar, everything you need right there at Pearl River Resort. Look at what this guy gets to do, Mike. Talk about Pearl River Resort. Here's Jay Coker.
I may not suit up on Saturdays anymore, but I'm still in the game.
Let's roll.
In here, I call the plays, make adjustments, and lay it on the line. Want to feel that fire, that rush? Then you've got to get in the game. I used to say it in the tunnel, and I still say it now. Let's roll.